The Cedars Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whoever you are, wherever you are, wherever you come from, for this hour, we here are one gathered congregation and all are welcome. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our musical call to worship, Let It Be a Dance. That's hymn number 311 in our gray hymnal, also on the screen.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like the willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Well, hello again. My name is McKnight Johnson, or Mac. I'm your lay leader today. Today I am wearing a white beard. I'll probably wear the same thing tomorrow. I have glasses on, and today I'm wearing a wonderful, cozy, gray hooded sweater. My most important fashion accessory, however, is my new hearing aids, which they're not as bad as you think, and I think Lisa appreciates the fact that I don't say what as much. Lisa and I, she's my spouse, we've been here for over 3 decades, involved in various this and that, always involved whether we attend regularly or not. She takes the big leadership roles and I take the other ones. And yes, our son was raised here. It's a very important place to us, and I'm glad to see all our friends and all our new people here. Our guest speaker this morning is Johanna Munson. Johanna comes to us from Cedars UU Church. She has published a book. Most of us read books. She has written one. How to, let's see, live responsibly, die thoughtfully, How to Navigate the Rest of Your Life with Intention and Grace. Copies will be available in the foyer after the service for $10 if you'd like to purchase. If you're visiting this morning, we invite you to participate as you feel comfortable. If you're here in person, we have fidgeting toys and a rocking chair available for wiggles and sensory needs, and we have assistive listening devices available. This script has recently been written. I don't know if you noticed. But very good. We have assisted listening devices available. See one of the ushers if you need one. You're also invited to stay and meet people during coffee hour. Many members and friends of the congregation attend online. I can see you just like you can see me. If you're visiting online today, you're welcome to introduce yourself in the chat. And more announcements about KUUF, Kitsap UU Fellowship, are available in our weekly email newsletter, The Candle. You can sign up on the website or in the foyer. Please now, let's take a moment, I remembered it in advance this time, to silence our electronic devices that you don't need to be monitoring or interrupting for the next hour. Now, please join me in taking a few centering breaths. Here's our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the Aboriginal territory of the Suquamish people. Expert fishermen, canoe builders, and basket weavers, the Suquamish live in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's Central Salish Sea as they have for thousands of years. Here the Suquamish live and protect the land and waters of their ancestors for future generations as promised by the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855. Now I'd like to welcome our guest speaker today, Reverend Johanna Munson.
Good morning. Wow. And good morning to those who are watching. Yes, a wonderful response. Thank you. My name is Johanna Munson, and I use she, her pronouns. It is such an honor to speak for the first time at Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I am a worship associate at Cedars, and so I get to get up in the pulpit alongside our guest speaker. We don't have a minister right now. And so it's very different being the main speaker, so it's lovely to be here with you. I have grayish brown hair. I'm not saying it's all gray yet. I'm holding that for the future. I do wear glasses, and I'm wearing a teal button-down shirt. Teal is my happy color. It just makes me feel really good. So I offer this reading called Hauntings as an invitation to build connections with that palpable energy of loved ones, both living and gone. Do you believe in ghosts, holy and haunting? Touches that reach beyond our constructions of time, stories uncontained by the arms of history, presence that spills over, palpable and potent, beyond our rigid binaries of ends and beginnings. A mysterious fluidity among realms of living. Lives leave traces among us. Relics summon them without our even asking. A coffee cup, a collar, a mere suggestion of a scent. Imprints and remnants dance and weep in our midst. Eerie residue that in transitions of matter and spirit, there is grief that outlasts death. Horrors untended, still screaming unheard, love that aches for more time. We mostly move through our days unnoticing and arrogant until something peculiar animates our senses, disturbs our illusions of severed connections, and untidies our certainties of knowing and fact. A wider web of life ensnares us, sticky and elusive. Every fragile thread weaving a cosmic tapestry across planes of existence. Call it heaven, call it hell, to this hallowed tangle we belong.
Thank you. And now it's time for our chalice lighting. We welcome Phil McConnell to come up and light our chalice. Phil is a lifelong UU who joined KUUF 2 years ago. He's one of the people making sure we have coffee, tea, and goodies after our services. Thank you, Phil. It's never too late to have a cup. Join me now in lighting our chalice. If you have your own chalice or candle at home, please light it as I read our chalice lighting words from Mary Sheldon. We cannot know what all the year may bring, and would we heed the prophecy if we could? Bright flame, awake, send forth your shining light beyond this year into the many coming. Show us the ways of love and help and care, of justice, mercy, and equality. Illuminate unto the generations. Show to the world a beacon of safe harbor. Help us to find the kindred warmth within us and among us to help and make it so. Now please join me in our spoken affirmation. The words will appear on the screens. We gather as a caring community, seeking life's deeper meanings. We value diversity and affirm the worth of all living things. We strive to speak truth in love, to act for justice, to grow in spirit, and to care for the earth. We celebrate with open hearts and minds the creative power that sustains and transforms us. Now our next hymn is Where Do We Come From? Number 1003, 1003 in our Teal hymnal. The lyrics of this song come from the French title of a painting by Paul Gauguin, created in Tahiti around 1896, 1898, maybe 1897. The painting depicts three women in different life stages, representing the beginning of life, the middle of life, and the end of life. Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? Ed Luby will now introduce the song Singing, which is Around.
So this is around, and apparently I have to leave most of the rounds because I'm around a lot. So we're all going to sing all four of these lines so that we're familiar with the way that it goes. And then we're going to break off into sections. We're going to start with mighty section number 1 right here. Mighty section number 1. Then we're going to sing through all four lines again. We're not just going to stick on one line. Okay. Section 2, section 3 with Brian, and section 4 with the other
And now Melinda Hughes, our great and wonderful Director of Religious Education, will share our time for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. I have red hair, and this morning I am wearing a Kelly green blouse. This month, beginning of January, I wanted to introduce that we are exploring the practice of story, and today we are diving into that theme by exploring how we, as human beings, are not just made of stories, but in fact are writing our own stories with every choice and decision we make. So with that in mind, I want to share a wisdom tale called The Tale of the Sankofa Bird. Sankofa is a word in the Twi language of Ghana, meaning to retrieve, literally to go back and get. Once upon a time, in a vibrant village surrounded by lush green hills, there lived a wise bird known as the Sankofa bird. This beautiful bird had bright feathers that shimmered in the sunlight, and it had a special ability. It could fly forward while looking back at its past. The villagers admired the Sankofa and often sought its wisdom. One day, a child approached the bird to ask a question. You see, the child had been feeling confused about their future and who they were becoming, and worried about the choices they would make. "Excuse me, wise Sankofa bird," the child called out. "How can I find my way when I'm unsure of what lies ahead?" The Sankofa flew down from its nest and landed gracefully beside her, its eyes twinkling with kindness. "My dear child," the bird said, "don't you know we are the authors of our own stories? But to understand our future, we must first learn from our past. The journey of life is like flying. You can look ahead, but remember to glance back to where you've been." The child stared at the bird with a puzzled look. "How can looking back help me?" The Sankofa replied, "Think of your experiences. Each mistake and success has taught you something. By reflecting on them, you can make better choices. Just as I fly forward while looking back, you too can move ahead with the wisdom you've gained." Inspired, the child thought about their past and all that they had learned over the years. They remembered the time they were afraid to speak in front of the class, but later found joy in sharing stories and thought, maybe I'll be a writer. They recalled the time they had helped a family member while they were not feeling well and thought, maybe I'll be a doctor or a nurse. They recalled how fun it had been to help build the neighbor's fence and thought, maybe I'll be a carpenter. With each memory, they felt stronger and more confident about who they could become. "Now, child," said the Sankofa, "what do you want to achieve in the future?" "I want to be a storyteller," the child exclaimed. "I want to share stories that inspire others." The Sankofa smiled. "Then remember your past. Embrace your courage and creativity. Keep reflecting on your past, and it will guide you in your journey." With newfound determination, the child thanked the Sankofa bird and set off to share their stories with the world, often pausing to remember their past and letting it illuminate their path forward. This story is a wonderful reminder that we are the authors of our own stories and how to go about that. This is an especially great reminder this time of year with New Year's being on everyone's mind. People are thinking a lot about who they are and what they want the next chapter or year to be. Oftentimes, society says that each year starts with a blank slate or a brand new page. But this story and religions like ours tell us we need to know where we have been to know where we want to go and who we want to be. So in the week and days ahead, may all of us, kids and adults alike, think about how looking back will help us look forward to what needs to change, what needs to grow, and what needs to expand, as we write this next chapter in the story of our lives. Now please rise in body or spirit as we sing our children on their way to the Matin building.
We gather as a religious community to give each one of us a place where we can do the work of many. Together, our light is much brighter than a solitary flame. Now is the time in our service when we share in the sacred act of giving, an expression of gratitude transformed into generosity that breathes life into our mission. As part of our mission that inspires us to act on our beliefs, we share our weekly offering with a local nonprofit agency providing services within our larger community. Our charitable giving recipient for the month of January is the Peninsula Community Health Center, which provides healthcare services in a respectful and supportive environment to people in Kitsap, Mason, and Jefferson counties. In just a moment, our ushers will move among us with baskets to collect the offering. Donations placed in the basket will go to the Peninsula Community Health Center. If you'd like your offering to be used for KUUF, please use one of the envelopes provided to you with your order of service when you came into the sanctuary. For those of us joining online, you may go to our website, kuuf.org, and select the Giving tab for PayPal and mailing information. If this is your first time at KUF, feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us today. And now let there be an offering to strengthen and sustain our beloved community, which is sacred to us. Let us enjoy a gift of music from our music coordinator, Mr. Brian Kenny. Thank you so much. Now is the time for our joys and sorrows. When shared together, our joys are amplified and our sorrows lessened. And I have only joys here today. We'll start with one of our most joyful joys. Bonner's big joy is today marks the 15th anniversary since his shadow was first cast on our sanctuary doors, January 2nd, 2010, 15 years. That's right, it's 2025. Thank you for letting your shadow lighten our door. It's a mixed metaphor there. The second one is also a great big joy. It's from Melinda Hughes, who was just up here. She's joyous that our whole lives sexuality education, AKA OWL, is back with 4 facilitators, a handful of families. The program is now active for 4th to 6th graders and will begin this month. Been very important to people we know. Thank you so much. And I put this one for last. I think it was a good order. This is from Beth Wilson. Tomorrow, listen carefully. Beth says, tomorrow I will be celebrating my husband Paul's birthday. He, on the other hand, doesn't want to celebrate. He's only 80. I don't get it. So if you want to congratulate him, don't say anything. Just give him a pat on the shoulder. And so where's Paul? Where are you? So who doesn't want his birthday celebrated? Paul, as your old friend, I just wanted to say, never mind. Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah, many of us know how they feel. Thank you very much. And we're going to light one last candle for those joys and sorrows that are still too tender to share. Wonderful. And now, please join me in a moment of prayer or intention. In the spirit of community, in which we find strength and common purpose, we share our joys, our sorrows, our hopes, and our dreams. We have turned our minds and hearts toward one another in trust, giving love, seeking comfort, celebrating together. We're part of the web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with the universe. In all the moments of our lives, for those loved ones and events shared this morning, and for those that we yet hold in the silence of our hearts, we are truly grateful for the love and support of this beloved community. May the spirit of life and love bring peace to us all. Amen and blessed be. And if you would, please remain seated while we sing Spirit of Life. That's hymn number 123 in our gray hymnal, and the words are also on our screens.
I offer a poem by Rumi entitled The Window. Your body is away from me, but there is a window open from my heart to yours. From this window, like the moon, I keep sending news secretly. Let's have a minute of silent reflection. E = MC², the case for an afterlife. So I was on a Zoom call with a client, listening to her share her thoughts and hopes for how the rest of her life will play out. And I noticed that my left leg is twitching. That's weird, I think to myself. I wish it would stop. The call continues, and my leg is still twitching. I begin to hear a voice on my right saying, "Tell her Uncle Charlie is here." I try to ignore that voice, but hear it again, so I gently interrupt her and say, "This probably sounds really weird, but Uncle Charlie wants you to know that he's here. Do you have an Uncle Charlie who has died?" She looks at me in total surprise and gasps, "Yes." Well, he's here, and he's a total jokester. He's making my leg twitch to get my attention. For some reason, I want to laugh really loudly. Was he someone who could make a crowd crack up? Yes, he was, she said. It turns out that he was a pivotal figure in her life, but she wasn't able to be with him when he died, and she'd felt guilty about that for years. During our call, he was able to reassure her that he harbors no hard feelings and that she can relax and move on with her life, knowing that he is there for her still. The relief in her persona was beautiful to see. This Uncle Charlie story brings to mind these lines from the poem I read at the start of this service. Presence that spills over, palpable and potent, beyond our rigid binaries of ends and beginnings. Palpable and potent, that was Uncle Charlie. He visits me often still. He showed up again and was cracking me up as I wrote this sermon. Those rigid binaries of ends and beginnings are how many humanists you use and some non-religious see the cycle of life and death. Very cut and dried. We're here and then we're not. Our bodies are animated and then they're not. Today, I'll invite you to consider a different perspective, that some part of us is eternal and that there is scientific evidence for this view. I chose Einstein's formula, E = MC², as the basis for this talk. So I decided to look up his views on religion and spirituality. Einstein did not believe in the existence of God, but whenever he was asked about his views, he described a deep sense of awe at the universe. From David Rowe and Robert Schulman's 2007 book, Einstein on Politics, His Private Thoughts and Public Stands on Nationalism, quote, Einstein considered himself a secular humanist and an agnostic, and rejected the idea of any kind of lawgiver or God. He wrote extensively on the relationship between religion and science, and of spirituality, he said, the most beautiful emotion we can experience is the mystical. It is the power of all true art and science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. To know that what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty, which our dull faculties can comprehend only in their most primitive forms. This knowledge, this feeling, is at the center of true religiousness. In this sense, and in this sense only, I belong to the rank of devoutly religious men, unquote. So keep that openness to the mystical in mind as we continue. For many in Western cultures, thinking about what might come after we no longer inhabit our human body is like going into a black hole, something to be avoided at all costs. For those who believe in some kind of afterlife, however, thinking about the transition from life to whatever is next brings a sense of expansion and freedom, maybe even relief, like taking off a bra or a necktie when you get home from work. Not being tethered to a body, no longer subject to the laws of Newtonian physics, fully able to take advantage of quantum physics, or as our poet put it, a mysterious fluidity among realms of living. What is possible if that's what happens to us? So this brings me back to Einstein's famous formula, E equals MC², also known as the law of conservation. The E stands for energy or electromagnetic radiation, M is for mass, and C is a constant, the speed of light. What does this mean? Well, he's saying that energy and mass are interchangeable under the right conditions. So from the website physicsoftheuniverse.com, I quote, "The law of conservation of energy dictates that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. It follows, then, that if the energy pushing the body is being converted into additional mass, then mass itself is just another form of energy, and vice versa. Energy of any sort, not just light, including sound energy, electrical energy, energy of motion, all of these have an effective mass," unquote. How does this apply to living creatures? Well, as I choose to understand the law, the energy that animates us has to go somewhere when we die, as energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Is this evidence of some kind of energetic resonance that continues after we die? Some kind of soul, perhaps? Let's take a look at some of the ideas that are out there about souls. There's this wonderful book that my dear friend Donna Moore gave to me called 100 Places to See After You Die. This is compiled from literature, mythology, pop culture, and more. I'm going to stick with the religious traditions here. So our Universalist forebears held the Christian belief of the existence of a heaven where all were bound after death, thus indicating possible recognition of the soul continuing to exist with God and be reunited with loved ones. For a more contemporary view, I found a YouTube video from a Dallas UU church where the ministers were discussing their personal views, and one said, "I have a deep and abiding faith that comes and goes." Many UUs today fall into the camp of humanism and believe that this is the one life we have to live and that we should make the most of it by seeking happiness and fulfillment and supporting others to do the same. This is from humanist.uk and their Dying Matters project. The humanist view is that when we die, our physical matter may go on to support other life forms. Our genes live on in our descendants, and our legacy, what we created in terms of our impact on the world, is what lasts. By accepting our impermanence, we can cherish the preciousness of each moment, and there is no recognition of a soul or afterlife. I have participated in many religious traditions in my 60 years, ending up as a UU, and was drawn to Buddhism through my Japanese studies in college. There are many sects of Buddhism, of course, but the general belief is that death is the end of our physical body, and the core returns to the source of consciousness. We might call this core a soul, and that soul experiences afterlives in between reincarnations. It's like changing costumes as we take on new roles in new plays. The reality of the cosmos is changed because we existed in physical form, and we reincarnate many times and eventually evolve enough to reach the state of nirvana, where we no longer take physical form any longer. The page for nirvana in Jennings' book is blank. Some forms of Buddhism recount 18 levels of hell for non-believers that can take billions of years to get through. No, thank you. In the Torah of the Jewish faith, there is no clear reference to an afterlife, and most Jews would say their focus is on living a good life in the present according to Jewish law. One quote I read said, "We are asked to leave afterlife in God's hands." The Baha'is believe in the inherent nobility of each human being and that the soul continues to an afterlife and the body returns to earth or becomes dust. I read a beautiful explanation of this process. It's like the bird cage is destroyed at death, and the bird experiences greater feelings and heightened perceptions. It is in the afterlife, in their belief, that a whole human soul reaches its full capacity. Very different from the humanness. So why would we want to explore these different approaches to what happens to the energy that seemingly makes us who we are when we are no longer that person? Well, UUs are known for our love of questions. So why not investigate what is possible if we take what Einstein discovered and go beyond our space and time-bound physical lives? What are some ways that we can expand our energy field and feel more connected to those whose energy is now elsewhere? So let's play with energy for a few minutes. So I invite you to put your hand on your heart and just hum softly to yourself. You feel that vibration? Now hiss. How does that change the energy? I don't feel it so much. Don't feel that resonance. Give a good sigh. Let your shoulders drop. Do you feel different now? And give a good laugh out loud. That's a huge shift in how I feel. And lastly, I invite you to rub your hands together. Get some warmth going. Now gently move your hands in and out. See if you can feel that energy moving between them. How far apart can you move your hands before you lose that feeling? Bring them in and out and just feel that. I see some smiles on faces. I love that exercise. When I do this, there is a palpable physical awareness of energy in between my hands. And I have repeated experiences of communicating with the energy of departed loved ones in the mediumship sessions that I offer. So how can you feel the energy of those across the veil if you feel so called? If you're missing them or you just want to feel connected? Well, some of you probably have a wall of photos of loved ones or a spot on a table that's dedicated to those who are gone, a sort of altar. So that's a great start to creating an energetic connection and expanding your consciousness. Maybe you've placed an item that belonged to a loved one there, or maybe you've lit a candle, and that helps you connect with that person. So let's try this right now. Bring a person whom you feel love towards who has died to mind. And think of something physical, like a food that they liked or a place that you associate with them. Lower your gaze or close your eyes as you are comfortable. Keep your energy light and high frequency by thinking of a positive memory, even if the pain of loss is strong. It can help to start with someone who died a while ago, so the grief is not as fresh. Now picture a column of light surrounding you, reaching up higher than you can see, connecting you with a greater reality, expanding your sense of what consciousness means. In this way of being, our consciousness is not just what our limited human perception sees as the physical world. It is the ultimate creator and decider. Each of us is creating our own reality, seeing existence from our unique perspective. See if you can bring back that sense of that energy between your hands and sense that everything is energy. The space between each one of us here is just as solid as we think our bodies are. We are all as one. Feel that unseen energy vibrating. We can affect that energy, as we saw when we played with different sounds. Bring that person to mind and send your loving energy to them. And see if you can sense their energetic presence. My mom is here right now. She was a lifelong Unitarian and never took us to church, but yeah, you can read about her in my book. She's so happy that we are here today. And so you may get chills up and down your spine like I just did, or experience twitching, as with Uncle Charlie. Smile gently, increasing your energy, and keep connecting. Connect at a deeper level. Bring in those who you miss, who loved you. And if you're not feeling anything, that is totally valid, but you might be interested in developing this ability. So try again at home with a photo and an actual object. What was your experience like? I hope that you felt love pouring out of you towards that person, whether there was any response or not. So I invite you into this mystery, as Einstein put it, to know that what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty. The challenges of these upcoming years will ask us to grow in new ways. So what if we grow in this mystery? And as the Sankofa bird said in our story today, remember our past and those who were in our past, but who we would love to have in our present. Allow them to guide you in your journey. As UU minister Tom Owen Towell wrote in Theology Ablaze, dying appears to be a supreme act of confidence that the creation that breathed us into existence will assuredly catch as well as clasp us forever. The bottom line, we'll be all right when we die. We stay allied with the land of the dead, the territory of the ancestors, through the medium of love. Our liberal religion seconds the sentiment of the Song of Solomon, that love is stronger than death. Yes, love outlasts death. To the glory of life, amen, and blessed be. Please rise in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 1020, in our teal hymnal. The words will appear on the screen.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but Negro within. And we will get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know. But we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wa-ya-ya, 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 wa-ya-ya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wo-ya-ya, 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 wo-ya-ya. Wo-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya, wo-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya, Wo ya 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 ya. 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 Wo ya 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 ya.
So just a couple of announcements. There will be coffee hour afterwards, and the grief support group will meet in the Elmore room after the service. And we invite volunteers to stay after the service to help us undecorate our Christmas sanctuary. Many hands make light work. Extinguish. May our senses be animated, disturbing our certainties of knowing and fact. May we enter the mystery and open our hearts and minds to each other. May we share our stories with the world. Blessed be.